machine, and she won. I mean, that was a very significant thing.
The thing that disappointed me was her resignation as governor.
Yes.
Because, you know, you don't quit. The only good thing about Hillary Clinton is she never quits. So we need to see if she's got the staying power.
Dick Morris, wonderful to see you, Dick. Thanks for being here. Well, Tea Partiers say they're not going to the Republican Party. The Republicans are coming to them. And a key worry among some Tea Party believers is that no matter what, their movement will end up getting corrupted by the Washington establishment inside the Beltway. Jim Jordan, Republican congressman from Ohio, says no way, it ain't going to happen to him. And Luke Livingston, maker of Tea Party, the documentary film, is the guy who's going to put these guys' feet to the fire. And they join me to sort all this out. So any guarantees that a politician on the campaign trail, not somebody already in office like you, but somebody like Mark Kirk who wants to replace the seat once held by Senator Obama, any guarantees they could make that could convince the Tea Partiers that they won't betray the ideals?
I mean, good question. I don't know that there are guarantees. But what I can tell you is, you know, last year I offered the only balanced budget in Congress. 111 members stood up and voted for that balanced budget. So there are at least 111 members in Congress who get it, and I think, frankly, more. And in light of what's happened in the last year with the Tea Party movement, with the August town halls, with New Jersey, Virginia, Massachusetts, with the fact that, you know, this administration was going to pass cap and trade, health care, all these crazy things, and they haven't happened, I think a lot of members and, frankly, a lot of candidates are getting it and understand we're at a point in history where we got to do things right. We got to exercise some common sense in Washington, and we got to get spending under control. So I'm cautiously optimistic that the voters are going to give us one more chance this November.
But, Luke, I remember so many betrayed pledges where people said everything from term limits, you know, only serve 2 terms, and then they like the franking privileges, and they like all of the limousines and everything. They keep going on. Promises not to cut taxes, and then they go ahead, or not to raise taxes, then they go ahead and raise them. So what guarantees could a politician make?
Well, absolute power corrupts, right? But the founders put the power with the people. And that's why the Tea Party movement's so effective in pulling the Republicans back to the conservative principles of the Tea Party movement: limited government, fiscal responsibility, and free markets. So you see events like the convention and other Tea Party events around the country, you know, focusing on and coalescing around those principles. And you're seeing the candidates now, you know, approach the Tea Party looking for that Tea Party good housekeeping seal of approval. And believe me, if they get into office and they start slipping away like the Republicans have over the last several years, you're going to see, you know, the storming the Capitol. You're going to see the Tea Party patriots rising to action again.
I hope they do to keep people to their promises. But you know, talk is cheap, Congressman. What about term limits? Making it official that you can only serve so long.
Look, I supported term limits when I was back at the State House. I actually worked for them, and they passed in our state. I think an important point to remember is most politicians, the old cliche about politicians is right on target. Most politicians don't see the light, they feel the heat. And they are feeling the heat from the people right now across, and God bless the Tea Party movement. They have kept, you know, elected officials and candidates' feet to the fire. As long as they continue to do that, I think you're going to see members do the right thing. You know, remember, we live in a representative democracy. People send me to Washington from our district to look at the data, evaluate, ask the questions, go to the hearings, make a decision on their behalf. But they don't completely forfeit their ability to influence my decision on their behalf. And we're seeing both of those dynamics in place. And frankly, we're seeing an emphasis on the people exercising and exercising their First Amendment rights and influencing their member to do the right thing in Congress and those candidates who are running. So it's a healthy thing that's going on. I've been very close to the Tea Party movement, spoke at many of their events across our state and in our district. I think they've been a godsend for this country.
Well, Luke, you'd have to be a dumb politician not to take advantage of. If you're going to be able to get support from the Tea Party movement, it's a big movement. It can provide momentum, even to people like, I'm thinking of Congressman Mark Kirk, who's running for that seat once held by Barack Obama, the U.S. Senate seat. He's not a conservative or libertarian by nature, but he is making pledges now to you. I'm just wondering if once he gets in office, he'll go back to what he was saying before, which was much more moderate.
Well, based on what you just said, like candidates are starting to use our film to fuel their campaigns. We've had requests from some Republicans to allow us to screen the film at their campaign event so that they can, you know, bring the Tea Party together, learn from the film on what the principles are and understand it better, and also to you know, speak directly to members in their district after they watch the film.
They right now feel like they can use your energy and, frankly, use your voters to their good. But how can you really keep their feet to the fire?
Well, you're seeing the Tea Party movement now get more organized. I mean, what happened in Nashville and what's going to continue happening is a focus on impact at the electoral and precinct level. And as they start to understand how to organize through the web and campaign, you're going to see the Tea Party movement start to organize.
Well, let me ask Congressman Jim Jordan, is there a danger, is there any kind of danger of the Republican Party getting too closely aligned with the Tea Party, for both sides, because then the Tea Party would just be seen as a tool of the Republican Party?
It's the Tea Party and their movement which has helped stop these bad policies in Washington. So remember, the Tea Party folks out there, the American people, are smart people. To the extent they're going to run folks in primaries to hold Republicans' feet to the fire, God bless them. But also, they're smart, so they're also thinking, you know what, who's the best candidate to help us stop the radical left agenda we see out of Washington today, the radical intervention into the free market? So in the case you pointed out in Illinois, they have said, you know what, we'll take Mark Kirk. We might not agree with all his positions, but he gives us a legitimate chance to take Barack Obama's Senate seat and keep the Senate from doing some of the crazy policies that have been proposed. So I always come back to this. The politicians never get it right, or very seldom get it right. The people typically do. The people always figure it out before the politicians. So trust their judgment on, are they going to elect someone like Mark Kirk? Sure, in states where they think that makes sense. But also, they're going to hold others accountable, maybe even in a primary. Trust their judgment. They've helped us stop.
Trust the people. Sounds good to me. Congressman Jim Jordan, Luke Livingston, good to see you. Thank you both for coming in. And we want to know what you think. The Tea Party convention. Is it a buy, sell, or hold? Text your answer to 369-249. And coming up on deck, we're focusing on terror. Why is President Obama sticking by read him his rights AG Holder and dragging his feet on the KSM trial? Even White House insiders are getting a little impatient with the Attorney General. Find out what could happen if the president doesn't act soon. That's next.
Are you tired